It's time now to welcome our traveling correspondent, comedian Tom Papa, in a segment we call Out in America.
Thank you, Chris. On behalf of Live From Here, I continue my journey across the country, shining a light on all the good people in America. This week, I grabbed a scarf and a beer stein and headed off to the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fall was in full swing with the leaves turning colors, temperatures dropping, and Packers jerseys no longer optional. Some cities are known for their art museums, others for the opera. Milwaukee is known for its beer. The making of it, the distribution of it, or in my case, the drinking of it. And in a town nicknamed Brew City with a strong German heritage, the right time to arrive is during Oktoberfest. Anticipating a long day filled with lager and lederhosen, I decided it was important to start out with a hearty Milwaukee breakfast, which meant a big bowl of chili. Milwaukee has built a solid reputation of serving bowls of spaghetti and chili to drunk people for over 75 years. While I've done this many times, I never entered at 11 in the morning with a clear and sober mind. Like karaoke and whack-a-mole, it's a little weird seeing it in the daylight. I sat on a stool at the curved counter and was served by Denise. She's been working long, hard hours there for years. She deals with the demanding and often inebriated customers by simply being the funniest person there. A large man placed an order, and Denise yelled out, "One large cup for Don and his D cups." Another guy was having trouble climbing on his stool. She called him Shorty McGee. And when a police officer spilled his drink, she gave him the choice of being spanked or punched. The other officers made him take both. When it was my turn to order, I was overcome with fear and just blurted out a large spicy chili with spaghetti and jalapenos. Denise yelled out, "Fireball for the fathead." Everyone laughed a little too hard at that one. Have you ever taken a bite of chili that was so hot that you started crying in front of a group of Milwaukee's finest? I have. Denise gave me some water and told me to toughen up. She's the meaning of tough. She works 2 jobs, cares for her elderly mother, and takes her 2 children to school, all by public transportation. "That's how I got the job," she said. "I was standing out in the snow and my connecting bus never showed up, so I just walked in here and started working." She said, "I don't know how anyone's supposed to get ahead when they have to take the bus. Forget white privilege," she said. "The real injustice is car privilege." On my way out the door after finishing the hottest chili of my life, Denise said, "Say goodbye to Jalapeno Tom, everybody. He doesn't need the bus because he's about to blast a rocket out of his backside." It was time to head over to Oktoberfest, which is being held at Marquette Park. I thought I might be a little early for a drinking festival, but in good old Milwaukee style, I was actually a little late. It was a nice event filled with couples and families, all enjoying the day to the sounds of laughter and accordions. I headed over to the beer garden, grabbed a stein, and toasted with some students from the University of Wisconsin. Their leader was Hans, who everyone called Hansi. He was 6'4", his Packers jersey was 3 sizes too small, and he had a dirty cheese head on his head. Drinking mugs of beer with young people brought back memories of my college days. I could hold my own back then and was ready to show the kids what I could do. But much like a man who naively thinks he can still play football, I mistakenly thought I could still drink like I used to. It was just after noon, and I was already getting a little wobbly. These days, if I drink more than 2 beers, I'm hungover for the rest of the month, and I was already on my 4th. We followed the oompa sounds over to the polka band. You know you're in for a good time when everyone in the band is wearing suspenders. If music was a beer, they would name it polka. Polka dancers were stomping and zooming around in circles as the music picked up speed, and before I knew it, I was grabbed by my shirt and pulled into the crowd. Have you ever thought you were doing the polka and suddenly realized you were actually in a fight? I have. Apparently, my college buddies had gotten into a tussle with some guys from a bowling team, and I got dragged into it. Lucky for me, this bowler was top-heavy and ended up knocking himself to the ground. Hansi picked me up and dragged me off to the side. Have you ever sat at a long table to get some rest and realized you were actually involved in a bratwurst eating contest? I have. Thankfully, I was just Hansi's wingman. A buzzer went off, and everyone, all men of course, started shoving bratwurst into their mouths. Hans was eating at a furious pace. He was attacking these bratwurst like they had wronged his family. He looked at me and yelled through a mouthful of sausages, "Beer!" And I handed him my beer stein like a trainer on the side of an alcoholic marathon. He took a sip and plowed through more bratwurst than I've ever had in my entire life. The guy next to him looked up in amazement, shook his head, and just walked off. The buzzer went off, and Hansi raised his hands in clear victory. His small shirt rose up to unveil the powerful stomach that was really the true champion. I had just met this guy and was as proud of him as if he was my own son. We all stumbled over to a small hill off to the side to take a break, and I took it all in. It was perfect. People from all walks of life gathered together with the sole purpose of enjoying the day, inspired by a people who worked hard and helped build this city all those years ago. The city that still stands strong on the mighty banks of Lake Michigan. Have you ever closed your eyes at Oktoberfest and when you opened them again found yourself being spooned by a giant Packers fan? I have. That's it for me. Thank you, Milwaukee. And until next time, this has been Tom Papa, out in America.
Thank you, Tom.